Right, perfect.
And I'll join the Zoom to help you, like,
Yep.
if people have
Yeah, and
things that,
catch. Perfect.
then if you want to get things rolling.
Well, just gotta make sure. Can everyone hear me? And the microphone.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, perfect. That's good.
Perfect. Then here's the mic.
Yeah.
Speak into that part.
Hello.
Mute switch is there, so you should be live. Okay, then I'll let you get these people over there and do what you want.
Yeah. Well, we're just gonna wait for like a few more minutes just to make sure everyone's in the Zoom meeting and everyone's already here.
It's 7:05. I would get things rolling.
Okay.
If people were waiting, they should already be in there.
Welcome to the ECSS presidential debate. I'm the chief returning officer for this election. And here are the candidates. We have one more, but we're just gonna play this video and this. So first, we'll start by randomizing the order.
And we also know about dietary restrictions for pizza.
Oh, yeah. Any dietary restrictions?
Dairy.
And
Okay, cool. Then I'll order veggie and some meat and some cheese. And dairy free as well.
yeah, perfect. So. So, Lachlan first, Jasper, Johan, and Arlo. Are you all ready? Yeah, perfect. So since Lachlan's first, I have to play the video.
And
Yep. Yes, I can help with that.
got it. Yep, I just gotta make sure to.
Lachlan, Jasper, Johan, and Arlo. My bad.
PC, yeah. There we go.
Yep, perfect.
Oh.
Double check people on Zoom can see the video.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I need to share screen. Everyone see my screen? Nope.
Let me help. So let's move this.
Just gotta make
and then
sure.
we've got to,
Oh, yep, that'll.
I'm clicking on all the wrong things, but
It was all-
share here.
Oh,
And
it
then
didn't
let's
work.
share just the
Mhm.
media player. And then we'll pull this up here. And can I get someone on the Zoom to verify that we have, you guys can see the video?
Yep, I can see the media player video with Lachlan.
Perfect. Then ready when you are.
And wait, can you hear the voice? The audio? Can you hear the audio?
Yeah, we can.
Yes, but it's echoing.
Yeah, perfect.
you have seen up here three very fine people presenting their platforms. These platforms, I believe, are similar in many ways. I think they focus on amenities. Amenities is what is being focused on and what has been focused on by the student society for a very long time. Ideas like large engineering challenges and connecting with more volunteers and continuing past work, I don't think that's what's going to get us to the next level. I respectfully disagree on the vision here. My vision is a completely different 180 from that. My vision is that I'm going to focus as president on pain points for students instead of nice to haves, instead of amenities. So what are the pain points? Because you've heard the amenities. What are the pain points? Number one, big pain points, co-op assignments. These are awful. These do not help you. You don't need a supervisor visit. If you were doing poorly, you would get fired. You don't need an assignment about competencies. You don't need quizzes. The website is too hard to navigate. It's a waste of your supervisor's time to meet with these people, to organize this. I think there's another way that they can accomplish some of these goals, but some of them just don't need to happen. So number one, if I become ECS president, I will lobby the co-op group, co-op organizers and the faculty in that side of cubic engineering to drop those. So you'll save time and you'll have peace during your workshop. Okay, you'll get a break from school. Now, second, I'm going to lobby the university to figure out snow days ahead of time. It's unacceptable that students come to school and then they get told to go back home. That costs them money and it's dangerous. Some of you get seriously hurt, and there have been instances where people have been hurt, but it gets even worse if this keeps going on. So I'll talk to President Hall and I'll get this ironed out so there's a strategy. I'll find who keeps making a bad decision. Now, three, I will make academic advising compassionate and extensive. I have seen firsthand the lack of compassion in the academic advising. People come here, they put their whole life into it. They come here from far away, international experience, lots of people. Sometimes they're lonely, isolated, vulnerable, and they're not getting the advice, they're not getting the info, and they're not getting the compassion that they need. On the issue of international students, for example, the co-op boards, just going back to the first point, the co-op board needs to put the money we save from getting rid of these assignments and work visits, they need to put it into getting more industry linkages for everyone, but especially international students. Co-ops are way too hard to find. It's unreasonable. We don't have enough connections. We need more connections. We're just as good as the other engineering schools, maybe even better. We just need to pound the pavement more, get more connections. Four, I'm going to expand the course offering. If you miss one course, it's going to be offered all 3 terms. You shouldn't have to be stuck in the cycle of endless reincarnation. That's not right. It's bad for students. It's bad for the university. Let's expand the program. Maybe we can use that new building, house new spaces for the courses to keep running. Okay, very small point for my fifth. I'm going to make the engineering building less depressing. We need light and depth. It feels sad. I feel sad when I go there. It makes a good day into a bad day. I want some light there to improve the mood. Last thing at ECS presidency. I'm going to find out why the faculty has not been mingling with the students as much. I've seen the higher faculty. I've rarely seen the dean talking to people. I haven't personally talked to faculty that much. I want to see them going out there. I want to find ways to connect the faculty with the students. I want to encourage the faculty that it would help get their message out, get feedback, to go out and more just talk to people randomly. And I want to think of some events where we can get a direct face-to-face, not just one of the forms they send out that nobody answers. So, in conclusion, once I become ECS president, I'm going to solve your pain points. Structural changes over amenities. Lawful Bennington is here to make a structural change to make your life better. So vote for the changes into the structure. Don't just vote for neutral change. Change the structure and vote lawful.
And. Yep, evidence. Yep. I'm just gonna make sure Zoom's okay.
One thing.
Just kind of Yep, it's just a Zoom meeting, yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah, that's good. Um,
Do I need
just
to
to
use
say
the mic
something so like people in this room can like make sure like, people can hear you over there.
with the mic?
Yep.
Hello? We good?
Can you guys hear Jasper?
Yes, but it's a bit faint.
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah, this one, yeah,
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
So do I need to use the mic for people in the room?
for people in the room
Yeah.
and not a mic for the Zoom, so, yeah. I mean, if you don't want.
Okay.
to use,
You guys hear me okay, like this? I mean, okay.
He's clear right now.
Okay, great. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Jasper, and I too am running for the role of president of the Engineering and Computer Science Student Society. As stated in my platform, I'm a third-year software engineering student, and in my first year, I was the first-year representative of the ECSS. My platform is based around improving the engineering community at UVic by increasing engagement in ECSS organized events, along with ensuring inclusivity in selection for who gets to attend conferences and events at other universities. So in general, the ECSS does a great job of putting on competitions such as UVec, but lacks in events more catered towards bringing the student body together. So I want to add a couple or maybe a few larger scale annual events with at least a couple hundred participants. As first year rep, I organized a few events of this sort, like the Engineering Olympics, where teams competed in engineering related events such as a paper airplane throwing distance contest off the ECS building, math minutes, and chugging milk. And the top teams received cash prizes. In addition, I hosted a gingerbread house building competition and a barbecue to defeat Meatless Mondays at the Cove, where around 150 first years showed up. These were a lot of fun, and I felt that it brought my first year class together. So as president, I want to carry this over to the larger scale of the entire engineering student population at UVic. The second main part of my platform is ensuring equal opportunity to attend events like the Canadian Engineering Leadership Conference, which is hosted at a different Canadian university each year. The ECSS currently sends delegates to this conference based on an application and interview process. But although it is open to all students to apply, it often ends up being only or mostly ECSS members that are chosen to go. And the people who choose the people to go are members of the ECSS. So I plan to change the system by setting a limit on the number of ECSS affiliated delegates permitted to go, along with setting a minimum for the number of non-ECSS delegates. I also plan to increase the advertising of these opportunities to the general engineering student population. So in summary, my goal as president will be to make the ECSS more engaging and inclusive to all engineering and computer science students through creating larger scale events and by ensuring equal participation in conferences and events at other universities. Thank you.
Allow the work nights. Well, you just tell me whenever you're ready, so I can just start the timer. Okay, sounds good.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jobin Ravel, and I'm a fourth computer science student, and I am running for re-election of ECSS president. So I've been involved in the ECSS since I first arrived at UVic. My involvement originally started with the integration of the computer science students into the ESS, which was it was formerly known as. So that's where I started off as. And since then, yeah, I've been involved in nearly every portfolio, working on everything from events to conference selection to working with clubs. Like I've done it all that you can do in ECSS. So I have a very good understanding of how everything works. And yeah, I'm excited to be running again. So as the ECSS president, my focus will be on building upon the very successful year we just had. So one of my main priorities from last year was setting a strategic direction. And we have started the process on that by sending out a big survey that a very large amount of the student body completed. It was our first time reaching out to the student body for feedback since before COVID at the very least. And yeah, using those results, we want to set a strategic plan that the ECSS follows for the next 3-4 years, so we can better serve students like all of you. Another key focus will be student engagement and student well-being. Over the past year, there has been great efforts to work on that, but there's still work to be done. Yeah, so since the last year, we've had a big increase in the amount of people being engaged in ECSS activities, events, or just like volunteering with the ECSS itself. So I want to keep on increasing that so more students are engaged and know what we're doing and taking advantage of the student fees that we collect from them. And yeah, I'd like to refine and expand our efforts by collecting more student feedback from events as well. Like we had a big survey, but we have also been sending surveys for all event participants to better know how to run events.
No, you still have time.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, just to like better know how to run events. So yeah. Additionally, student well-being remains a big focus. I want to support initiatives that foster a supportive and inclusive environment. I want to ensure all students feel heard and supported. And that goes for all students, including from people that volunteer with the ECSS or just regular students. So if you're a volunteer and making sure you're getting the support you are getting with the work you're doing, or if you're just a regular student, making sure you get the support you need with faculty and like any academic concerns that may come up for you. And so, yeah, like that'll be a big focus of mine, and that'll be like, well, make sure, well, the ECSS is as open as possible so you can get your voice across and we can support you. And yeah, being a second-term president, I think it has a very big benefit, being that I don't need a big transition period. I already have very strong relations with faculty, a lot of student groups across campus, including many of our engineering and computer science clubs. So having that already established, it's a big benefit instead of like spending an entire semester, like 1/3 of your term as president, working on building those relationships. So like the issues that are currently ongoing, such as the makerspace, I can like continue working on that instead of like getting someone else up new to speed and then like kind of like restarting the process. So I think that's a big benefit to having someone being a second-term president. So yeah, overall, sorry.
Yeah, still a minute.
I have a minute. Okay. Yeah, so overall, I hope to build on the foundation I laid out this semester and continue to make the ECSS a more effective, inclusive, and student-focused group. And yeah, with your support, I look forward to another year of growth, engagement, and meaningful change. So thank you, everyone.
Hello, everyone. My name's Arden. I'm a fourth-year software engineering student here at UVic, and I'm running for the role of president. I'm currently the vice president of finance for the UVic ECSS. And what that role entails is kind of planning how money is going to be spent throughout the year. Through my time as vice president of finance, but also just taking on other volunteering roles, such as helping out with our summer charity Bug Push, Order of Pie in the past, and generally just seeing how events have been run as well as services, I have known that the ECSS has done great things. I, however, also know that we can do better. Overall, my platform is mainly focused on improving the operations of the ECSS, mainly to try to focus on creating quality events that last in people's mind and they say, yeah, I want to go to the next. Overall, I think that all the candidates here on the president's platform are great, and you should all take the time to consider to vote for them wisely. But what kind of stands, I guess, more so me apart is that I have had a wide range of experience in other team leads, such as helping out with courses, projects. I like to see myself as a determined individual and dedicated, much like anyone that would volunteer here. And I would like to say that overall, I want to make sure that the ECSS provides great value to its members. And this would go to maintaining, say, the selection machine to make sure that when it gets broken in the future, that it would be easily maintained again, or that promotion for events would happen sooner at an event than the week that they were currently happening. This is of no fault of volunteers. Everyone is busy, but the main role that I want to focus on as president is a role of support, such that when someone falls short or when someone needs help, that I'm there to help support them. And I believe that with effective planning and collaboration that I can help make that possible. Thank you.
Well, yeah, okay, so any questions that you want to ask on the candidates?
Very general, not fully to, I actually no, yeah, this is a good one. As president, I was president for everyone's reference sake, I was president a couple of years back. As president, you have to rely on the council members a lot to achieve the goals that you have as president. What council members do you think you'll be relying on to, what goals do you think you'll be relying on to achieve your goals?
I think generally that every role on council has a good position to help the president. It's kind of difficult, I think, to ask the specific role to see if they would be more beneficial than another. I think that everyone kind of has their own spot to help. I think that honestly, it's difficult to answer this question to say one specific role. I think it really just applies to everyone.
For sure. Can I start you with this?
Yep.
Okay.
Just Zoom.
Zoom? Can you guys
Yeah,
hear me?
exactly. Well, I think it's fine. Yeah, they can see you, but they can't hear you.
They can't hear me?
Yeah, you too.
All right.
It's not great.
I think the mic is on the laptop.
I can come up there and answer if that matters.
Wait.
It sounds like the mic is on the laptop.
That probably would be the best.
I can't move
If we
this.
could get that a little bit, but not much.
Nah, I can't move this.
No.
I think we just come up there and answer.
Yeah, that would be better. Yep.
I'm gonna turn this off. Sorry, can you repeat the question once again?
So the question was that as council, as president, will have to rely on council to achieve your goals. Who, like, what roles on council, do you think you will be relying?
Well, for sure, okay. For a council, like everyone has a very important role. And like everyone will be like equally relied upon to like do their duties to make sure the students are getting the most they can from the society. But like over time, like depends on like who's like some people have more free time, like then they can help out more, like and like depends on like there's like no set role that I would like ask for more help from. Like everyone would be asked to like do what they're supposed to do, and like but like as people have like more time, they'd help more with certain tasks, or if they're busy with certain things, then someone else would help, like, but just a set role I have in mind, that'd be like, I'd rely on more than others. So like, yeah, it would just be an equal share, among the council, and everyone just doing their share. Yeah, I hope that answered the question.
All right, my guy Saad, VP Student Life, he'll be helping me out. If I'm putting on these big events, I need someone right there to help organize everything, so I think he'll be a big part of that. And other than that, everyone has their own role to help operations work smoothly, so they'll be doing their part there.
Arden, can you answer again so people can in the Zoom can hear you?
Yeah, so just to maybe summarize what I said was that I think that every role in council has a special purpose to the, at least ensuring that the president or the overall ECSS does its purpose well. There wasn't a specific role that I really narrowed down. I think that everyone is kind of important for different reasons, and I can't really easily narrow down one.
Can you just repeat the question? I will put people in that.
Yep.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
I can't remember the question. Can you answer it? Yep, any specific events in mind, and we also.
Yeah, for sure. For events, actually, before I was president, I filled the role of associate VP events, so I have quite a bit of experience in events from before. When I was VP events, I ran quite a few events. Like we always obviously had our Triple E event, which is our semesterly pub crawl that you all probably know about. Then we also had a formal night that I planned, and we also had this big ECS week, where we had events throughout the entire week. We had events such as a trivia event. We had like a scavenger hunt event. We also had like this polar plunge event, and like there's like we had a big pancake breakfast too. We had there was quite a few events going throughout that week, and it was a fun time and everyone enjoyed it. And for like events that that we want to like maybe add on is like we I haven't thought too much about it, as because like sort of like the ideas that I've already wanted to incorporate for events have already been added. Like for what I've personally done is like I've grown Bug Push from being like the size it was to much bigger now. It's like raised much more in charity than it has previously. I've also like grown Triple E, like before it used to be a certain amount of attendees, then I grew it to more attendees. Also grew formal night. We had 200 people show up last spring, and then another 150 this time around. 150. I'm not kind of remember exact, maybe 120, but like it's been bigger than it has been previously. So like I don't have any like many ideas for new events. Like all the new events I wanted to like take on were like I did them when I was associate vice president of events, but I am always looking to grow events so more students can attend and yeah, have some fun with their fellow students.
I want to have annual engineering Olympics. So in first year, as a first year rep, I had this event where like there's all these different sub events of the engineering Olympics, and you have like you make teams and you choose like a person to do each event, and it goes like over the whole day, and there's like cash prizes, things like that. So I think having that, but on the scale of like all years, so you get lots of teams and have it be like really big thing every year would be pretty cool. And then I have some other ideas, like smaller ones, like an egg drop challenge, something like that. Just like fun events like that, I think would be good. Yeah, I got like a lot of engagement when I did it just with the first years. I think like the biggest one is probably the barbecue. I had like 150, 200 people just first year engineering. So if you like have obviously times 4 or 5, then you get a lot of people together. So those are my ideas.
I think overall, I probably wouldn't say that there would be the addition of any new major events. but I would like to see the quality of pre-existing events increase. This would maybe go follow down to like one instance that I can think of off the top of my head is the UVic engineering competition. I know that this is something that has run in the past and it's been hosted in the ECS building or the lobby just right outside and in the lecture halls here. I would like to see the more so the quality of the challenges increase. I think that it's possible with proper planning and having a jump start of starting in the summer to plan, say, fall UVic engineering competition would ensure that the competition would be more challenging and also would ask or would like people to compete again next year. Another thing would be more adding smaller events. I think that having a formal charity event, it's all good to have these big major events, but I would like to have the smaller ones too. The ones that maybe happen weekly and on campus for people to see and attend as they're walking through their class.
Nope. Yep.
I have a question for Arden.
Oh, well, that's the question should be directed, well, you can't just ask one of them.
Makes the question work.
I was just gonna ask, how would your previous role in finance help you be successful as a
Just
president?
say, how would your previous roles,
Yeah,
any of your previous roles, to any of them, help you be successful?
yeah.
How would any previous financial experience you have?
Like, what's the question for, like, there's a question from you.
Yeah. What's to say?
What's
How,
this?
yeah, how would your previous role help you be successful?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't have any previous financial role at this time, but my previous role as the first year rep would help me because I know about the ECSS and how it works, and I've run events and done the advertising, and I know how to gather people together, great things like that.
So a key part of my role is actually budgeting and seeing that the finances of the ECSS are put to a good use. And the good part of my role is that I actually get to plan at least a lot of the things, at least from like the sidelines. It's giving me a good perspective of what works and what doesn't, and also what may be seen as worth it, so to speak. In terms of like what has happened previously that maybe could be improved in certain aspects, like we don't get that type of cardboard, let's say this year or we don't get a certain type of, what's the word? Let's say glue, let's say, for instance. It's more so just about seeing that it helps me focus on the tinier details that some people may, or some details may go unnoticed.
Now, as for previous roles, I've held a variety of roles. Like, as you guys know, I was president for this past year. I've also been associate vice president of events. I've also been director of charity and also social media coordinator. So I've had experience of like leading the society through being president. I've had experience with events, being VP events, associate VP events. I've had experience with the communication side, like how to get relay information to you guys through the social media side. So I've had experiences throughout many areas of the ECSS, and all of them will help me in my role as president.
So vice president roles can achieve quite a bit on their own. So particularly for you, why would being the president give you a better opportunity to achieve this goal? And can you highlight one particular role that would be better for as president versus vice president without
To maybe reiterate the question for the people on Zoom, the question was, sorry, it was what is a job of that could be better fulfilled by president, right?
So for your goal, why should we be president over a vice president?
Okay.
How does it help you achieve your goal?
Yeah, right. I think Being the president compared to, say, vice president of finance, allows kind of more control in terms of actually planning things rather than planning just the money where it goes. As well as I like to see that I can see more of the results of the events rather than actually contributing to the planning phase. I think that a key part of Prez is to help is more so delegating the roles or the jobs to vice presidents and also volunteers by that proxy. I see that as the main job of Prez should be more delegation so that the VPs can succeed.
So why I think I'm better fitted to be president than a vice president, like what I want to specifically do that I can't do as vice president?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I think I'm better fitted to be president than a vice president is because I believe I'm an effective leader and I believe I can get results out of people when we're looking for results. Like I've had quite a bit of experience working as like a supervisor. Like I've had a couple of jobs as a supervisor, and I've always been kind of leading teams for a while now, and it's something I enjoy doing a lot. And I feel like can't do that as much as a VP. I'm like sort of just like setting my vision forward for the ECSS and how we want to benefit students. And something I specifically want to like focus on is like the makerspace. Like it's been something that I've been working quite a bit on already. And there has been some issues that have come up with it, and just like continuing to see that over as president would be something I can't really do as a vice president.
One big thing is the choosing the delegates to go to different conferences, things like that. As a vice president, you don't really have as much say when it goes into changing systemic things like that. In regards to the events, as like VP Student Life, VP Events, you have some say, but like if you want to have events on the type of scale that I want them on, where like it's just a ton of people participating, you need more than just one person shouting for that. So
Ignore my question because I'm getting pizza.
well, nope, nothing. I'm just waiting.
So the ECSS is very important, or one of the most important parts of the ECSS is supporting and funding our many engineering competition teams here on campus. Given the rising cost of operating and running engineering competition teams, would each one of you support increasing club funding?
I have thought about this question before, and I think currently the UCSS is very much not in a position to increase club funding due to the ongoing cost of the makerspace. We are contributing $56,000 a year to that till like 8 years from now. So like we don't have a lot of budget left, and like another third of our budget already goes into clubs. So like that leaves like a third for just the ECSS itself. So I do not think we're in a position to increase club funding, but with the computer science integration, there is more student fees now. And like just like last fall, we had like a record high amount of club funding available, and a lot of clubs got what they asked for. So I think right now where we are is good. And like we can't really afford to increase club funding, but maybe after the makerspace construction's done, which is like so many years from now, it could be something else like that. So. But like right now, I don't think we can afford to increase club funding this year. I think the 33% we already allocated is good. Like not good, but like it could be higher, but we just can't afford it to be higher.
I would have to look into the budget more to see what sort of problems are happening in specific clubs. Like if there's a problem where a club like they can't do anything because they have no money, then it might be time to allocate them some more money. But like without identifying like concrete problems, you can't really just like throw money at like all the clubs and then hope that it just solves everything. So
The current state as of right now, the preliminary answer is no. In terms of raising club funding, that's not something that I would support, at least initially from the perspective I have right now. Costs are increasing as for everyone, not just clubs and student teams, but also means that our operation costs are going to increase as well. I would say that maybe potentially there could be more, the ECSS could support trying to find more funding opportunities for clubs, but that would not necessarily come from ECSS student fees.
If you were to fail in the role of president, how would you fail and why would that failure happen?
That sounds like an interview question for like, I don't know, minimum wage job or something. I don't really have an answer for that. I don't plan to fail. I don't think so. Thank you.
Sorry, just to reiterate the question, it would be how would like the president fail? Or
Suspect you may fail as the president.
that's fair.
It's a very valid question.
Yeah, that's very valid. Honestly, probably burnout. I would say that would be the highest course. A lot of what my platform and my belief is that it's not just the president's duty to fulfill the purpose of the ECSS, but it's everyone's, every volunteer, all the VPs. And I guess the right course of action for that is just to make sure that the ECSS is sustainable overall in its operations so that we can prevent my burnout from happening.
Okay, well, being a president currently, that there has been instances like where there's been burnout. And like, that's probably what would be the cause of my failure if it were to happen over this year, like just being burnt out. But in those cases, like especially over this year, I had a strong team of VPs that I could rely on that like supported me through those times and like were able to take some time off my plate so I can kind of like recover and like be like give my best to the ECSS. So if I was to fail, it'd be through just burning out. And in that case, I'd rely on my team, the VPs, the directors, and have them support me while I kind of like recharge and I can come back better at 100% and effectively lead the team. So yeah, there's been cases of that this year, but it's been great because I've had a solid team behind me that has supported me well.
What do you think is going to be the biggest obstacle in achieving your individual goals? Or what, you want to achieve with the president?
Well, what do you think would be the biggest obstacle to achieve your goal? Was that the question, or
Yes.
just like thank
Well,
you for
to say it again for the Zoom,
Yeah.
it's what's the biggest obstacle that we see that would hinder our goals?
What's your plan to, sorry, add more, and what's your plan to deal with that obstacle?
Yeah. Honestly, for me, I think that a lot of my ideas or a lot of my goals kind of come down to planning and whether that planning is done effectively or not. And there is a lot of stuff in the ECSS that I refer to as a software engineering student as tech debt, which basically just means that you kind of got to get a lot through some sludge first before you can actually start doing things. And honestly, probably, I mean, if you've seen the ECSS Google Drive, you'll know it's a lot. But trying to navigate that to actually find the information to compile it to see what's useful and what's not would probably be the biggest obstacle. And ultimately, I think it comes down to just time trying to input into it, as well as a proper system from ordering things, as we have been doing currently on council with the OneDrive, which we're switching over to.
Sorry, can I just get a repeat of the question?
So in achieving your goals, like what you plan to achieve in your time as president in this next year, what is going to be the biggest barrier? And what's your plan to deal with that barrier? Everyone has different goals, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of going to sound like a parrot here, but burnout again, like the biggest barrier will be just burning out potentially, like if things are just like too intense. It's a big role, like it takes a lot of time on your schedule, and like doing coursework or co-op or anything like that, just like it's just a lot at the same time for sometimes. especially like busier times throughout the year. So, and I think it'd be just burnout, like not being able to like have the willpower to like do those tasks that I want to do. Like, so I think that would definitely be my biggest challenge, like hurdle, I guess, throughout the year. And I guess it's like kind of the same as last time, but it's like, yeah, it applies to this as well.
All right, so just to reiterate, my goals were sort of to like create these bigger scale events with a lot of people, and the other one to allow more people to get to go to different conferences. So I think for allowing like the general student body to go to conferences, the only real barrier, because all it would be was just changing a few rules, like you'd have to have like a minimum number of people that aren't involved with ECSS, have to go, things like that. And like changing those rules would just come down to like deciding amongst like the ECSS to change those rules. So if people like didn't agree with that, then I don't know, we'd have to start like you'd mitigate that by like coming to some other reasonable conclusion. In terms of making the big events, I don't imagine that they're gonna cost like a lot of money, like in the scale of like how much the budget is. But just allocating a little bit of budget for those events. The obstacle.
Questions? Oh, Jay, okay. Yep. Go, Jay. Which turn would it be? I would know. No, it would be.
What's the question?
So Jay's question is, how do you plan to pay? How do you plan to pay slow software operations more efficient? Software operations more efficient. What? You want to make our slow software operations more efficient?
Okay, I got the question. Yeah. Okay, how do you plan to make our slow points of our current operations more efficient? Okay, slow points. Okay, let's wait 1 second. So slow points being like things where there's holdups or something. Yeah. So I think a good way of doing that would be like, did everyone get the question? Okay, the question is, how do you plan to make our slow points of our current operations more efficient? Everyone good? Okay, so I think my current line of thinking for this is, I think just more documentation in general, like for like how to do stuff. Like right now, sometimes our holdup is just due to like not being written down, and then like trying to have to like find old people to contact, like to figure out how something's done. So I think having more documentation on like just like transition documents on how to do certain events and stuff would help with those slow points. So like instead of like waiting for a text back or a call back, you can just sort of just read the document and get to it rather than wait a few days for maybe someone to respond. So I think that would be a big step forward in making sure we don't have those slow points.
Okay, so it was Jay, last question. Do you have like any particular slow points in mind that you want me to talk about here? Okay, you can just put it in the chat. Yep. Or I think you can do that. Jay. Hello. Well. Oh. Okay, so you said communication. Okay, so I'm just gonna like assume you mean like communication by like email or like chat or something, like people not getting back to you within like a few days, something like that probably. And like maybe you mean like I'm just assuming now, because okay, so you mean like communication probably between like within the ECSS team? It's like a yes or something. Slow communication. Okay, yes. Okay. Yeah, it's a good question. Well, I feel like I'm trying to think of like an instance where that happened to me where I found there's slow communication. And I think like just like the weekly meeting, just having a time to like say everything is usually good enough to handle it being slow because, I mean, the slowest it can be is 1 week. So that would be my answer.
Yeah. To maybe answer your point, Jay, and then maybe think about my own slow point that I have off the top of my head. It's hard to find a balance, at least right now, being on council, where you're trying to be a student and also manage a role. It's kind of a fine line between trying to respect someone else's time while also wanting a response from them then, there, and now. Really, that comes down to maybe more Jobin's answer, where a lot more of the stuff has to be documented, and a lot of so that it minimizes the questions that other people have to ask. It also comes down to, I think, another slow point that I've known in like my personal school stuff has been like people that have been in the middle of conversations where someone asks someone else to send another email, which makes sense if the president's talking to faculty to stuff like that. But when it's a volunteer trying to talk to another volunteer that's underneath a different vice president, it can kind of get a bit taxing sometimes. And so just trying to maybe more so just say that it's okay to message someone else or a different VP that you're not under, that would be where I would start. Another thing that I know as a slow point is, even though there may be a good point for documentation, I think that sometimes it can be a little taxing to try to, I mentioned previously, maybe read through all the documentation necessary. Sometimes things can be outdated, and really it's about trying to implement a good system to manage that. And I think that that starts with effective planning, which I aim to try to accomplish.
We have another question. Oh, when was the last time you worked on your position that's for your current position? Justin asks, when was the last time you worked on your transition docs for your current ECSS position?
I don't currently have a ECSS position. I was the first year rep in first year. And that was my previous position.
That's a very good point, Justin. To maybe clarify in the room for people that don't know, a transition document is kind of a piece of, that's just like a Google Doc or a Word document that's used to pass on information from one role in the ECSS to the next. So it's our way of kind of communicating with the future. The idea behind when was the last time that I updated my transition doc? Thankfully, I actually started writing some stuff up, I think a week or two ago. It's something that I still need to get better at updating, I promise, but I will make sure that it's properly filled out before I leave. But yeah, it's something that I think that I myself need to get better at too.
So yeah, as Arden just mentioned, yeah, something I need to get better at myself. So the actual document itself, I have not updated itself. Like it's sort of looks like kind of like something we do at the year end sort of deal. It should be updated like while you go, but it's sort of hard to do like while you're juggling school, responsibilities of your position, and like it's just like a lot to do while you're doing all that. So it sometimes just like ends up being a thing you do like at the end of your position, but. So yeah, like I haven't updated the document itself, but I have been like keeping in mind like what I want to add to it, like having little notes and stuff added that I want to add to it at the end of it.
Well, no. We're all the questions. We're gonna have some break and yeah, if you guys have any more questions, you can put that after.
Start with 2 slices of pizza. This is one territory, I guess.
No,
Are they allowed to ask individual questions to us during the pizza break?
Well,
Okay, then I just want to know if I should shoot down people or not.
yeah, just tell them, ask me later, and then like after.
ask later.
Wait, is there a way to pause this?
You can pause it.
Yeah, not end though, wait. Oh, yeah, found it. No, nothing. Hi, Aaron, I heard a voice, but wasn't looking at the screen.
With me, I'm
Sorry, I'm mouthful of pizza. I wish you come up.
Yeah.
How much?
Sorry, I kind of have to. You kind of have to leave. Just answer a few more questions and then from who? We'll see. I don't think there'll be any more questions. Great. All right, you want to ask right? Well, Jovan.
Hello, everyone. Any more questions? Oh, yeah.
Guys, we're getting started again. So about a year or two ago now, the formerly Engineering Student Society became, as we know, the Engineering and Computer Science Student Society. With that, how do you plan to continue including computer science students in our events and making sure they feel welcome?
No, I can't remember the order, so or we go first.
That's fair. I guess, yeah.
Yep.
I want to Zoom. Is the recording going?
It is recording.
Okay, awesome. I guess to include computer science students more, I think that we should have more inclusive events that are towards disciplines. I know that we've had discipline days recently, which has been a great start. But I hope that it kind of continues. In terms of continuing having computer science students involved, I think it's about actually having more computer science related activities that are around. I would love that if UVEC was a bit more targeted towards computer science students, or if computer science students had their own type of programming competition that was solely just computer science students, and possibly even software engineering students, such that they could actually be a bit more, we have the style of hackathon that computer science students actually want to participate in.
Yeah, certainly. Seeing as this is still a very new change, there's a lot of computer science students around still that don't know that they're part of the student society. Yeah, so yeah, definitely like making them more feel welcome at events. Like I know like a lot of events still feel like they're only like engineering or something. Like I know some events are advertising it's like as engineering, not like engineering computer science. So maybe switching that up. And like yeah, having like computer science focused events like we just had with discipline days, like Arden just mentioned. And yeah, like also like a coding competition would be good, just directed towards computer science students. As currently we have the engineering competition, but we don't have a computer science competition. So having that in place would be very good too as well. So computer science students have those opportunities for growth as well.
So as it is right now, UVEC is only engineering, is that right?
I'll clarify just because it's in policy, but right now it's open, UVEC is open to engineering and computer science students for all categories.
Oh, it is. Okay. Well, maybe I would change.
Yes.
That's right. Okay. Then
Sorry.
An important thing is that UVEC is the qualifying ground for the Western Canadian Engineering Competition, but only engineering students are allowed to go to that, and that decision is out of our control.
okay. Okay. Well, one thing in that, maybe just call it like UVEC with extra C, yeah, computer science and then. And other than that, like, yeah, I think just like the advertising for events, if they're welcome to computer science students, then just like make that abundantly clear, and I think they'll feel more included. Question? Just not. Oh, yep.
So we had to leave. So long-term president is a year-long role. The way you leave it next April is pretty important to the long-term success of the ECSS. How do you want to leave the ECSS by the end of your term? What would it look like?
So I'll be graduating next summer, so I'll be around for still one semester. And like having done president 2 years in a row, it'll like I'll have a lot of information on me. So I'd make sure that the incoming president was as supportive as possible, having like, regular check-ins to make sure that they know what they're doing and like just making sure they know what they need to do in the role. It has been an issue in the past where like someone's done a role multiple times in a row or something and then just leaves without sort of like being there to support the new person. And I want to ensure that doesn't happen. So I'd be there as much as I possibly can to ensure that the new person has the support they need and can ask me questions anytime. Well, they'll have my phone number and everything. So yeah, they can just shoot me a text or a call, whatever they need, and I'll be there to support them because I want to make sure this society succeeds even after I leave.
This goes back to a previous point. Someone was asking about the transition docs. So I would say like making sure that the transition docs are really well laid out and clear. And then giving like a plan, forming sort of like a plan of like the next steps that I think are good and that the rest of the council thinks are good, and handing that off to like the next president so that they can sort of see the direction that everyone wants to go in and they can make their decisions based on that.
I think my approach would necessarily be more of like a combination of the two of what Jobin and Jasper have said. It more necessarily is that I know that there's a bit of a problem with the transition docs and where they kind of describe the transitioning between roles and describe the role. They may not necessarily get every bit down, which was a problem that I've had as vice president of finance. I would wish that a lot more of my stuff had side notes taken about the activities so that I would be a bit more informed when trying to do things. So I think going approach to that would be more just taking general notes. I'm unfamiliar with how the president transition doc is currently looking now or what information is available, but just taking general notes about even just the mildest of things can go a long way. I do think that unfortunately I will only be at UVic for 4 more months after next April, and I will be graduating. As much as I'd like to say that I'd be around for the next year for the president as long as they would be, I do see that it would probably be a bit more of a communication problem. I would ensure for those 4 months that I would be there ready as a student, but I do have my own life to actually go do. So I'd make sure that I would respond in an effective timeline, but I don't see, I'm just not certain about what the future will actually hold for me.
First year back and like the first year council, if you were to be president?
So I was the first year rep in my first year, and so I have a bit of experience of like how that looks and getting like the council meetings to happen and getting the events to happen and sending emails, things like that. So I would definitely be there for the first year rep to like walk them through that role since I've done it myself. Yeah, I would say that's really it. I would just be like the #1 line of support for that role. So.
Yeah, I think that one of the main issues, I think what happened at least this year was that I know that Kathy, you came on to council with also a fresh vice president internal. So that obviously did not help things. I would think that at least for the summer term, if there is to be a vice president internal, would be to help better prepare them for the first year or for the setting up the first year rep to come, as well as being a support line for either vice president internal or first year rep as in either role, to make sure that they have the proper support and also just kind of know how to do the tasks that might not already be described to them in the existing documents.
Yeah, for sure. Like just Arden just mentioned right now, like having a vice president internal right at the start instead of like having them on board at the same time as first year rep would be a big start. And also just making sure the rest of council too does their part too. Like I know previously there's been issues with first year reps not feeling welcomed onto council because it's already kind of like a group of people that know each other, and first year reps kind of just like a new kid at UVic. So just ensuring that the rest of council also supports first year rep along with the VPI. And yeah, making sure the university rep feels comfortable to ask questions for help at any point from the president, from the VPI, or from anyone else in council. So yeah, just making sure it's as welcoming as possible and they have the support they need to succeed in their roles.
Oh, yep.
Sort of building on the last question, how could you get incoming students, especially first year students, including computer science first year students, at least aware of the ECS and SS and the services we provide and like, attending events in general?
I think it's kind of difficult to say what I do differently given what we've already done. There is a issue that we've been trying to solve ourselves on ECSS Council, but more so the fact that the faculty, not faculty, but UVic itself has a problem with us doing orientation based on how it's been done in the past. And so this just kind of means that it's a little bit more difficult to host first year events within the first 6 months. And sorry, first 6 weeks of the fall term. And I think that it's important to try to help the first years in other ways via our services or just by including them in the engineering community, just by general events, stuff like that. I think that also having a strong first year council is also a good representative of that, just to make sure that they host events regularly throughout the year to ensure that the first year students feel involved.
Yeah, just touching on what Arden said, like having any first year event is like just not allowed by the faculty. And I have talked with faculty regarding orientation this year, but they've already shut it down. So like it won't be happening this coming year as well. But what we did this previous year was we camped outside all the first year engineering and computer science classes and handed them T-shirts, and then we went into their classes and sort of just gave them like a little talk on what the ECSS has to offer for them. Sort of just like doing that again, and like there's also something I want to do next time around is like handing pamphlets around with information about the ECSS and like resources they can use, and like another pamphlet about like what the clubs here they can join are. So like just like, sort of some like keep on doing what we did last year with handing out first year shirts and giving them a little talk, but like also handing those out so they have something like they can look at in case they like miss something, and like yeah, they can refer to that just to see how they can better get involved this their first year. And like I think it worked well this year. Like we had a lot of engagement from first years in September and this semester, like higher than we typically have from what I've seen. So I think yeah, and like just growing on that so we can have even more first year engagement in future years.
Oh yeah, just building on that, I thought that when I was in first year, it was nice that the ECSS had someone come into the classroom and talk to us, let us know what it is, everything like that. And then another thing was just like making those first year events. Is it right that they reduce the budget for the first year events? Is that right? Someone correct me on that.
I would, as vice president of finance, I'm pretty sure we've kept it the same as last year.
Yeah, okay. So I remember like in my first year versus the Liam who was the year after me, I think there was like a reduction or something like that. Is that wrong?
What's the question?
Is the budget for like that the first year rep has, did it decrease from my year?
I don't know.
You know, okay, I think it did. Yeah, it did, right. So it did by like quite a bit. So I don't know if that's like that good of a move, because when I was in first year, we had these like big events and lots of first years were involved. So I would maybe look at the budget, try to reallocate some money for the first year rep to make these events.
So being president is a ton of work. And also being a student in engineering or computer science is equally a ton of work. So how do you plan, what are your strategies and plans to manage the balance and not drop the ball on either?
So for strategies, first off, just so everyone knows, like my only involvement for the next year is gonna be ECSS, like I have nothing else on the books, like I will be like just like classes and just focusing on the society itself. And like, yeah, that's how this year has gone. And that's how this year's gone too. It's my focus has been entirely on the ECSS. Like there has been moments of I've had to take kind of a step back, due to like just burnout and just like other issues going on. But with that, I don't think the ball was ever dropped. Like I think there was like sports still being provided so people can get their jobs done, and it'd be the same for the next year coming. Just helping people out as much as possible. Like just doing ECSS things like outside of classes I'm not involved in any other clubs at the moment.
Sorry, just one more time.
So present is a lot of work, being a student's a lot of work. What strategies and plans do you have to balance the two so that you don't slack in either?
Okay, yeah, I think I'm sorry to just like repeating a lot from like my previous role, but I never really had any issues with that. As first year rep, I know it's like a lot less work, but even so, organizing events, things like that, going to all the meetings, I didn't find that to be a challenge. So I think that it will. I'll find a good balance for this role as well.
For me, at least the past year, I've had to learn a lot more about discipline and trying to restrict, and something I'm still struggling with, but trying to find time where ECSS work stops and where my own free time begins. And so it's going to constantly be more of a struggle going forward, even if it's president. But I think that having the more so just keep continuing to work on that discipline of balancing between when ECSS work stops for the day and when I have my own free time or time to do other work. It's whether I use calendars or notes to plan that. Ultimately, I think it comes down to more discipline in that regard, as well as setting time for both myself and the role.
My grandma's birthday, I think about. Oh, I'll just say that. So, sorry, what's your question?
A quick question. What do you think is the most beneficial thing PCSS does right now? And do you think, on the whole, that students get value for their students?
Yeah, just quickly, I think like obviously club funding I think is a really big thing, like getting the clubs running. It's really important for the students. It's my grandma's birthday, so I have to like go wish her happy birthday after week now. But thank you for your questions.
I think that I think honestly the store is a big benefit to the students. I would like to say that I wish that a lot more students know about it because I'm still hearing people that have been on campus for a few years now and they're like, oh, I didn't even know this place existed. And I think trying to spread awareness about that would also be a good path to uphold to try to basically more market ourselves and our services that we provide. But I do think that the store is probably the #1 service that we provide.
#1 is a tough one for me. Taking the previous answers of club funding and the store was like a big services that we offer. Also, like the coffee and slushy stations that like a lot of students come in for, and like they can rely on a free cup of coffee to get them throughout the day, or 2 or 3, depending on how they feel. Clubs like that's 33% of our club funding, and like the clubs themselves, like all of them across, like there's like 25, 30 of them, and that makes up like around 500 students of our population. So that's a big way we impact all our students. The store, we have like hundreds of students coming in every day to like buy snacks and stuff to get them throughout the day, and like it's cheaper than any place else on campus. So keeping that going is good. So students can keep more money for their studies and whatever else they want to spend money on. And yeah, just keeping the coffee and slushy station going because yeah, it's nice to have a cup of coffee if you need to like wake yourself up, or nice slushy treat on Fridays. So yeah, keeping all of those things going is very important, I think, and like the most important services we have to offer.
Yeah, I guess we're done now. Yep, no more questions.
I would say probably shouldn't unless you pass the questions on to Jasper.
Jasper, yeah, Jasper's not here, so I just have to send him the video.
Yeah.
For some questions, normally we like allow for a closing statement.
Closing, yep. Well, we wanna start?
Do you want to go first?
Do you want to go first?
Go first. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so thank you all for attending today, spending your valuable time here to listen to answer some questions. Yeah, so I hope you all considered whatever was said today and look at the platforms online that are available on our website and make a wise choice on who you want to vote for. So yeah, thank you, everyone. And yeah, I hope that person is me, and I hope to build on the foundation laid throughout my previous year as president and build on that. And yeah, I look forward to another year of growth, engagement, and meaningful change. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for coming. I assume if you're here, you kind of more so have a higher stake in the ECSS. And if you made it to the end of the video, hi, thank you for watching. I would say thank you very much for coming out again. And yeah, you've seen at least 4 interesting platforms today. And I think that you'll know that whatever choice you make, voting will be a good one. We have some great candidates, and the most important thing that you can do as an ECSS member is vote. So yeah.
Done? Yeah, done.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.